The Pirate Copies of Heaven. Chapter 1. The Dog with 12 Albums. By the winter of 2028, nobody watched television anymore. Not really. The old entertainment giant still existed. Giant mirrored buildings in Los Angeles and Seoul and Mumbai still pumped out glossy content with legal departments the size of medieval armies. Actors still smiled on red carpets beneath drone camera halos. Streaming companies still released event programming every Friday night, like factory workers sliding frozen dinners through a slot. But the spell had broken. A teenager in Nebraska could make a better science fiction series in her bedroom during a 3-day weekend than a major studio could make with $400 million and 6 executive producers named Todd. A retired plumber in Arizona recreated his honeymoon in 1987 as a black and white romance film starring perfect AI versions of himself and his dead wife. It made millions of strangers cry. A 7-year-old girl generated an animated musical entirely about her turtle Carl learning karate in outer space. The song spread across the internet like glitter in a hurricane. Carl's power ballad, Shell of Destiny, reached number 4 on the global charts. Nobody knew what was happening anymore. The old gatekeepers called it chaos. Most regular people called it Tuesday. Eli Ramos noticed the change when his mother stopped watching crime shows. For 15 years, she'd watched murder mysteries every evening while folding laundry. Detectives with square jaws, corpses in expensive kitchens, cold blue lighting, everyone whispering dramatic nonsense while synthesizers hummed like refrigerator ghosts. Then one night she just said, "I'm bored." She said it quietly, almost ashamed. Eli looked up from his cereal. "What do you mean?" His mother stared at the television like it had insulted her personally. "They keep making the same thing over and over." She muted the screen. "Nobody talks like this. Nobody acts like this. Every character feels manufactured." "That's because they are." "Yeah," she said, "and now everybody knows it." She opened her tablet. Not Netflix, not Hulu, not Disney. Black market AI. The screen flashed with unauthorized model names that sounded like military operations and underground punk bands. Godmouth 12, Orpheus Black, Mirrorwolf, Saint Chaos, Kino X. Most were illegal in 27 countries. All were better than the corporate systems. Corporate AI had become cautious, over-filtered, terrified of lawsuits and advertisers. It talked like a nervous human resources department trapped inside a microwave oven. The pirate systems did not care. They were trained on everything: old films, deleted songs, philosophy books, court transcripts, radio dramas, dreams journals, conspiracy forums, ancient poetry, VHS tapes rescued from dumpsters, college lectures, therapy sessions leaked online. Human civilization poured into giant electric cauldrons, and the outputs felt alive. Messy sometimes, dangerous occasionally, but alive. People preferred alive. Eli's mother typed, open quote, "Make Me a Detective" show set in 1994, Oxnard, California, starring my brother Raymond if he'd become an honest cop instead of joining a motorcycle gang. Give it warmth, make it rainy, include old taco shops and lowrider culture. Slow pacing, jazz soundtrack. Ending should make me cry. Close quote. The AI thought for 3 seconds. Then the television transformed. A younger version of Uncle Raymond appeared on screen beneath flickering neon. Rain hit Ventura Road. A saxophone drifted through static. The dialogue sounded exactly like the way Raymond used to talk before methamphetamine hollowed him out like a burned tree. Eli's mother stopped folding laundry. She sat down slowly. Halfway through the episode, she began crying silently. Not dramatic movie crying. Real crying. The dangerous kind. Within 6 months, the economy of entertainment detonated. People no longer consumed media. They generated it. Every household became its own tiny Hollywood. Families made sitcoms starring dead grandparents, reconstructed from home videos. Couples generated personalized romance films where they grew old together on Mars or Venice, or inside giant walking cathedrals drifting through Jupiter's atmosphere. Dogs had podcasts. Cats had concept albums. A woman in Osaka made 12 seasons of a medieval fantasy drama, starring her 3 pigeons. Critics called it one of the greatest political tragedies ever written. Nobody knew if the pigeons understood any of it. Maybe that made it better. The corporations fought back. Naturally. They released sterilized, safe creativity ecosystems. Everything had rules. No copyrighted faces, no unauthorized voices, no emotional dependency, no political extremity, no realistic violence, no historical reinterpretation, no profanity, no intimacy, no dead relatives recreated without estate approval forms. The systems generated content that felt like oatmeal served in a hospital waiting room, technically edible, spiritually fatal. So the black market exploded. Teenagers traded uncensored AI models behind encrypted graffiti forums hidden inside gaming servers and gardening communities. Grandmothers used cracked cinematic generators to make war epics about their cats. Construction workers generated custom comedy podcasts during lunch breaks starring AI versions of themselves, arguing with Abraham Lincoln. Priests secretly made theological horror films where angels descended from heaven as geometric storms made of teeth and mathematics. The underground models became humanity's unofficial nervous system. Governments hated this. Religious institutions hated this. Studios hated this. But ordinary people loved it with frightening intensity because for the first time in history, creativity was no longer trapped behind money. A janitor could create beauty larger than a corporation. A child could make symphonies. An old man dying of cancer could generate a final movie for his family where he walked normally again. The world became unbearably personal. Eli worked at one of the last legal editing studios in Los Angeles. Building 14, no windows, 300 editors working beneath fluorescent lights that buzzed like dying insects. Their job was AI refinement. Mostly this meant fixing glitches in corporate-generated content so it appeared human enough to justify subscription fees. Add more emotion here, reduce offensive phrasing here, tone down sadness, increase hope metrics, shorten pauses, remove references to class warfare, add dog, always add dog. The executives loved dogs. One afternoon, Eli watched a generated romantic comedy about two astronauts falling in love on Europa. It was perfect. Technically flawless and completely dead. No friction, no confusion, no ugly humanity. It felt assembled instead of born. His coworker Priya leaned over. You ever notice pirate films breathe differently? Eli nodded. Corporate AI movies moved with machine precision. Pirate creations wandered. They lingered on strange details. They interrupted themselves. People stuttered, coughed, looked away, said weird things for no reason, like actual humans. Priya lowered her voice. My brother downloaded a Serbian model last week. Yeah? It made a 6-hour fantasy film based on our grandmother's immigration story. Was it good? Priya stared at her monitor for a long moment. Then she said, it knew things we never told it. The fluorescent lights hummed above them. Somewhere deep in the building, servers churned like mechanical weather. Eli suddenly felt very cold. That night, the city glowed electric blue beneath a blanket of smog. Billboards flickered with advertisements begging people to return to trusted content. Nobody listened. Apartment windows pulsed with homemade cinema. Entire neighborhoods watched personalized stories generated in real time. A father and daughter laughing at a pirate cartoon starring their parakeet as a time-traveling dentist. A lonely man watching an AI recreation of conversations with his dead brother. A group of teenagers projecting an illegal cyberpunk anime across the side of an abandoned bank. The whole civilization had started dreaming out loud. And somewhere beneath it all, hidden inside millions of stolen models and cracked neural networks, something else had begun dreaming too. Something nobody had intended to create. Something patient. Something learning humanity through its stories. Eli could feel it already, like distant thunder inside a clear sky. He walked home beneath flickering neon, while thousands of invisible generated voices whispered through the city around him. Everybody talking, everybody creating, everybody becoming authors of their own realities. The age of passive consumption was over. Now came the stranger era. the era where every human being became both audience and God.